All right, joining me now from Washington is Democratic Congressman Jonathan Jackson, who is also a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, appreciate you being here this morning. You have called for Secretary Hegseth to resign, but do you believe he will?
I don't think so, but I think he should, out of a sense of duty and loyalty to the country, out of a sense of compassion for others. The man is in over his head, and this is another demonstration. And in 6 months from now, it's going to be even worse. He had to circumvent the law. He had to circumvent the protocols in order to have this sort of fiasco. Everyone in the military and intelligence understands the SCIF process when you deal with sensitive, compartmented information facilities. He travels with a SCIF. There are protocols and there are also lines of communications that the military has access to. He willingly, wanton, went around that. So this just wasn't careless. This was reckless, and it could endanger future military personnel's lives.
Congressman, when you say that in months it will be worse, do you believe that this behavior will continue, or what are your expectations here?
Oh, absolutely. He came in. He's had all this rampage that he's going on, talking about that diversity is the dumbest thing he's heard in military history. And then he comes back and does the dumbest thing, the biggest blunder that we've seen in military history. He's turned diversity, which in the amicus brief, the persons in the military, the generals had said when they went before the Supreme Court for students for fair admission, they said diversity is our strength. It's a pluralistic society. We have to embrace multiculturalism. He is an example not of diversity, equity, inclusion. He's an example of definitely didn't earn it. So he's in way over his head.
And I want to connect the dots for people watching. I mean, you have connected in your statement the security breach that many have claimed is a massive security breach to the administration's rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Connect that dot for us. How are they connected, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, he so disrespectfully, so ungraciously removed General Brown. If General Brown was in there, we certainly wouldn't have this issue. Sometimes the nearest exit is the door behind you. And so what he's done is he's taken an attack on diversity. He's taken an attack on Jackie Robinson. He's desecrated his grave just because he was black. He's taken an attack on the highest ranking female in the military, saying that this is a culture of wokeness. No, the military was working fine, if you realize, before he got there. So the connection is it's a highly esteemed institution. The United States Supreme Court gave a carve out in the Students for Fair Admission and said you can't have race conscious programs in the nation's oldest public university, Harvard, founded 1636. You can't have race conscious programs in the oldest public university system, University of North Carolina, founded 1789. But they did say you can have race conscious diversity, you can have affirmative action programs in the United States Military Academy. So they were given an exception. Colin Powell is a diversity candidate. Sometimes people need the opportunity to get to the starting block and they can rise. And so what he's done is just totally breaking towards the cohesion of the military fabric. That's why I think that it's time for him to resign. He's going against the grain. This country was founded by the British, the Dutch, the Germans. I mean, the Germans are in the northern part, the Nordic countries. You've got Native Americans, you got people from Southeast Asia, you got African Americans, indigenous Americans that were here. So it's a multicultural society. He is now taking down, he's re-erecting the names of Confederate soldiers. How is that making African-American soldiers build unison with their comrades? We've already been through this part of our history. We're trying to go forward, and unfortunately, he doesn't.
You know, we've heard throughout the show and since yesterday, really, Trump continued to brush off this incident. Some lawmakers, some GOP lawmakers, in fact, though, are acknowledging this was a serious breach. As I said, Congressman Don Bacon, he told Politico, the White House is in denial that this was not classified or sensitive data. Republican Senator Roger Wicker, chairman of the Armed Services Committee, he is seeking an expedited inspectors general investigation. Congressman, do you believe, one, that the administration and the Pentagon will comply with that request? And two, do you have faith that that will accomplish the accountability that you and Democrats are hoping for?
I don't believe they will comply because their strategy has been a page out of Roger Stone's book to deny and delay and simply go forward. But I think it would get us to the truth of the matter if someone is looking for the truth in this administration. But to put 18 people on this group text, I was asking myself, where's the adult on the line? Like, who is the adult? It took a lot of engineering to use this private company's app, Signal. Who is Signal? It's a nonprofit corporation that we use in some of our group chats that has disappearing information. That's against the law. These records are supposed to be recorded according to federal law. He knows that. So it took a lot of effort to go and use this private server and put it on private phones. And that's why he just needs to stop. And I could even have some sort of understanding if he said, I made a huge mistake. Please forgive me. No one was hurt. Let's go forward together. But to deny, now to start lying, that is unacceptable behavior for the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, I think that was Congressman Bacon's point, was essentially it was a breach, just sort of fess up and own it. Let me ask how you and your fellow Democrats are planning to accomplish the accountability that you and others are calling for. What's the plan?
Well, this administration right now is not willing to have any accountability. He's overriding the will of federal judges. There's talk of articles of impeachment. People need to realize that the train is already off the track, that we're already now going into very much lawless behavior. There are protocols. There are some things that need to be fixed in the United States government. Of course, it's a work in progress, but everything in here has not been broken. We're trying to act like Social Security was broken, armed services were broken. We've got an arsonist that's now running the government. And this right here, I think the Secretary of Defense ought to be speaking up more forcefully for the veterans. You know, we love our soldiers when they go to war, but they become veterans when they come home. They deserve that same level of care and consideration and compassion. Veterans that are dying at the rate of 22 persons a day because of suicide, those services are being cut. Veterans are making up a third of our federal workforce. They're getting their jobs dismantled, and we've heard nothing from him. So there are bigger issues to deal with. I'm really embarrassed to even have this conversation right now because this is the United States of America's armed services. This is one of the most prestigious bodies of government in the entire world. We spend more on our military than the rest of the world combined. And we're talking about this sort of lapse as if we are a banana republic that can't run the United States military. It was running fine before Mr. Hegseth got there. And now he wants to deny and lie. It's time for him to resign.
Okay, well, Congressman Jackson, we will leave it here, but we so appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.